Notice what happens here. This is many years later. By the time we get to this verse, Jonathan is dead. Saul is dead and Jonathan is dead. So he's been dead for a number of years now, but I want you to notice what happens. I want you to see the heart of David here because it's a mutual friendship they share. So David is sitting around his palace in Jerusalem, and he calls his servants in. He asks them a question. David asks, is there anyone still left of the house of Saul, read the rest with me, to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake? Years later, we don't know how many years later, but many years later, David is still thinking about his friend Jonathan. Many years later, he's still thinking about the fact, Jonathan is gone. He's dead now, but we had a covenant. We had a friendship, and I committed to him that I would make sure and take care of his family. And I'm just thinking, is there anything that I've missed in my obligation to my friend? And he calls his servants and says, is there anybody still left of the house of Saul? That is Jonathan's family, the house of Saul, the heir to the throne. Is there anyone still left of the house of Saul, Jonathan's family, that I can show kindness to because of my friend Jonathan? There's an amazing story that unfolds there. I'm going to take you through in a few weeks here as we study this part of that passage. And the servant said, well, there is one. His name is Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth is living down in a place called Lodabar. Lodabar means a place of pastureless land, a barren place. And he's crippled in both feet. And I'll tell you that story more later. You know what David did? I hate to preach this sermon to you now, but you need this information because I'm going to go into depth about it later on. It's an amazing story of grace. David said, you go get Mephibosheth and you bring him to my palace. I'm going to give him all the land his grandfather had, and I'm going to let him eat at my table every day. Why? Because I had a friendship with Jonathan. So you never know where your friendships will take you. For the worst and for the best, friendships matter. If you're going to experience significance in life, you need to surround yourself with the right people. And I'll say this, the right place to find the right people is in the house of God. Let me quickly add, not every person in the house of God is the right person. Because the church is not a perfect place. So even in church, be careful. Amen? Are you hearing me? Because the church is not a museum for saints. The museum is a hospital for sinners. Okay? And so we learn to build relationships with people that will help us and that we can help them reach their best and reach the significant life that God called them to live.